Today, a delicious milk cake. Hello, sweet tooths. Today, look. You can see a real milk cake. We're going to make some super delicious milk cakes with a flavor that's much creamier than it looks. Nice and cool, but really tasty. Pay attention because this recipe is finger-licking good. Let's go for it. To prepare it, we're going to need 6 ingredients. Here we go. 4 large eggs, 80 grams or 3 tablespoons of butter, and 1 tablespoon or 10 milliliters of vanilla essence, extract, or flavoring. Half a cup of flour, which is about 70 grams, 1 liter of milk, which is equivalent to 5 cups, and 400 grams of sugar, which is 2 cups. With this, we're going to make quite a lot, so today we're really going to enjoy ourselves. And let's get started with the recipe. We'll put the 4 eggs and the vanilla extract into a large pitcher. Let me remind you that it's a pitcher where I can use a hand or immersion blender. First, whatever you call it. If not, we can also perfectly use the pitcher of a blender. In addition to these ingredients, we add the milk in. In summary, we're going to add all the ingredients except for the flour, which we'll add later. So as I said, eggs, vanilla, milk. Now we add the sugar in and the butter, which I have right here. If you have it from the fridge like I do, it'll be a bit hard. It's actually easier if it's soft. But don't worry, in the end, when you beat it, it'll blend perfectly anyway. However, if you're going to do it by hand, mashing it with a fork, it's going to take you quite a while. So today I recommend using technology, either a blender, a hand mixer, or whatever you call it, like this one. We're going to blend it until everything turns into a completely smooth liquid. Once you see that this starts to blend, we can transfer it to an even larger container to add the flour. I'm gonna use this one for the inside. What we're gonna do now is give it another mix to make sure the texture is completely smooth and so that the liquid is moving. Look, it's that easy. And now, without turning off the machine, we're going to start adding flour. We'll do it in several batches, about 3 times or so. So let's add a small portion of the flour and wait for it to blend in. Thanks to the fact that the liquid is moving and we're also moving the mixer, this is going to come together in no time. The big chunks of dry flour you see that look like little islands, just gently push them down yourself, directly by hand, running the mixer over them. Alright, let's keep mixing a bit more until we've incorporated all the flour. I do it with regular flour, just plain wheat flour, but you can use any kind of flour as long as it's fine. Whole wheat works. Rice flour would be wonderful, by the way, or even corn flour, as long as it's refined. Alright, final touches, a few more stirs, and our mixture is ready. With the amounts I mentioned, it's perfect for working with 2 molds at the same time, so I'm gonna make the most of the day. On one hand, I'm going to take this mold, which is about 20 to 22 centimeters long and about 18 centimeters wide. And I'm going to spread a little bit of butter on it to make sure the parchment paper I put on it doesn't move. That way, taking it out of the mold at the end will be very easy, and it won't stick, so it'll turn out perfect. We place a strip on the bottom, another on the sides, and thanks to the butter, it sticks. The excess paper. I cut it with small scissors, and now I have the mold perfectly lined. I fill it with cream, and voila, it's ready. We could already bake it, but since I have enough, I'm gonna make another mold as well. In this case, I'm going to use the typical long rectangular sponge cake mold. As you can see, I've lined it with the same technique as the other one, and it's ready. This way I'll show you how to do it, and you'll see that it can be prepared in both a glass container and a metal container, and for the oven. We have it preheated to 190 degrees, and I'm going to put both cakes inside, one, and right now, the other. Let's see if I can get there without dropping anything. Perfect, inside. 190 degrees Celsius or 375 Fahrenheit. The time varies a lot depending on the size of the molds, but as a reference, it will take between an hour and a half to be ready. You'll know it's perfect if when you poke it with a toothpick, it comes out clean. Let me remind you that I use the oven with heat from both the top and bottom, and if possible, without the fan. Look, the smaller one isn't cooked yet, but it is golden. So to keep it looking nice on top, I'm gonna cover it with a bit of aluminum foil. That way it won't get too toasted. The most important thing here is to keep an eye on the baking time, since it varies a little depending on the size of the cake you make and the oven you use. That's my recommendation. When you see that it looks good, open the oven, poke it with a toothpick, and if it comes out clean, it's done. If it comes out dirty, keep baking and repeat the process. That way, you always get it right, guaranteed. Second check, and this one is ready. So let's take it out of our oven. And right now, I'll come back with these wonderful gloves to take the other one out as well. Let's let it cool down, and once it's cooled a bit, we can put it in the fridge or refrigerator so it can finish setting. We can leave it here as long as we want. If you leave it overnight, for example, it turns out great, but if you're in a hurry, just an hour so it's nice and cold is already perfect. Let's see, I'm going to take them out and show you how they look. They're dense pastries, but when you eat them, when you try them, you're surprised because they're much creamier than they look at first glance. Look, thanks to the parchment paper we put on the sides, it's so easy to take them out of the mold. Just like that, we pull the paper up and we've got it. Now what I'm gonna do is remove the paper and place it on this serving plate so you can see them. Also, I think these are the kind of pastries that, when cut into little squares, give us a treat that takes several bites to finish. Perfect. So I'm going to present it like this, and the other one, more of the same. We unmold it easily thanks to the parchment paper, and we're going to place it as well on this little black plate so you can see how it looks. Now, can you see its color? It doesn't need any kind of decoration. They already look baked and golden with a really nice appearance. Don't you feel like trying them? Well, before trying them, we have to cut them. So let's measure. I think cutting this big one into 3 parts will be perfect for us. So I mark where I want to cut and let's go. We're going to make 3 strips of equal thickness. There's another one here, perfect, and now in a perpendicular position. We're going to measure the rest of the cuts so they end up more or less square shaped. And that's it. Well, there we go. We make it a little wider than the knife, and perfect. Now we have the little squares ready. Look, the one inside, which is supposed to be the hardest one to get. Look, it's perfect, set, but soft, just what we were looking for. This one is even easier. We just cut it in half and then make little squares. Now we have a tray of pastries that looks as spectacular as this. I'm sure your guests will really enjoy them. And they're going to be surprised too. A milk cake that's very simple to make, but with a surprising result. Go ahead and make it because I'm sure you're going to enjoy it. And now the best moment. I don't even know how to tell you. It has that slight hint of vanilla, but in a cream. Because even though it might not seem like it, it's dense, but it's a cream that as you chew it, it melts and the flavors spread. This is... I love it. It's delicious. I hope you liked the video. And if you think of any recipe you want to learn to make and that's super tasty, let me know down here in the comments so I can get some ideas. And also, look at this video. Doesn't it look good? So click, go watch it, don't miss it, and you can click here too if you haven't subscribed yet. Also, turn on the bell and notifications, and you'll get notified every Wednesday and Saturday that we have another recipe as delicious as this one. And down here is our savory recipes channel, Golosolandia.